Okay, we're on. I've got let's see. I was here last week. I guess I don't look that bad here in my tea room. Uh where was let's see. Oh yeah, so Zoom, yes. So I have all the little things you click look different than usual. So trying to
It
figure that
does.
out.
Yeah, I was trying to share a screen the other day, and you think before it was so easy. Now you got to go around a freaking circle.
Right, right. So let's see. Do I want to be this is very springy, but I don't think I want to hang out there. Let's see. I'll I'm just going my formal living room.
There you go. Formal living room. Yeah. Just seeing if
Yes.
this will run
Well,
something for me.
yeah. Let's see. How many teapots and pies do you have in your in your
Oh,
picture?
well, if you're in the lounge, I think this one would work rather well.
Oh, there you go. Yes, both in our
Or,
lounge. Oh, that's a nice one too.
mhm,
Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
one.
yeah. There we go. I
So is
think
that uh
that works better, I think, doesn't
there
it?
you go. Yeah, yeah. Is that AI?
That's AI. It did
That is
well.
okay. All right, because I was gonna say like let me look for the weird parts of it.
Yeah, like three legs on a chair.
Yeah, or like two fireplaces. Hey, look at that. They even got it looks like there's two teapots, which okay, but they're almost like connected, but there's separate cups. That's good.
Yeah. Oh, it kind of
Only
did
one
okay there,
fire.
didn't it?
Yeah. All right. It's getting better.
Yeah. There we go.
Uh,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Well, I probably have royal news. I'll have to recall it. I did listen to the royal report this week, but
Okay.
I didn't take any notes. So, do you have any
Hmm.
any royal news that you are aware of?
Oh, it might come to me. Not much. I know. Um, Harry and Miss Markle.
Yes.
Still that they're talking about this Australian trip being a bit more of a fiasco more than it should have been.
Oh, okay.
Um, Only a brief note. Something. I know they're talking a lot now about Camilla not being kind of, I wouldn't say cast out when Charles passes, but
Uh-huh.
obviously not having as much in an important role in the
Right,
royal
right. She
family
won't have to
when he
work as much.
passes,
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah.
at all, if William has much to do with it. So it's
Oh,
like,
gotcha.
and therefore she won't be getting as much vision, or the family will be entitled to receive much
Right.
either.
Interesting.
Um, which kind of makes sense in one sense, because I think there is still that rawness between
Sure.
the previous relationship of mum and dad.
Yes.
So, and I think the other thing that I did come up was the speculation seemed to be rising again of Harry wanting to go back to England, and
Yeah.
Meghan is like no, and I think also the royals are like fed up with him, like we don't want you either."
Right, right. Well, I think so. What I heard, so that reminded me of a couple things. So there's a royal biographer, I guess, that always or has worked for a while, but he just released a new book about Queen Elizabeth II.
Mm,
Um, and newer things in it are like from certain sources what the Queen really thought about Harry and Meghan.
mm,
Um, and things about her and Prince Andrew. The Prince Andrew stuff was basically that she truly believed he didn't do anything wrong. So like whenever she helped pay the settlement and whatnot, it's just
hmm.
Mumsy being completely blind to
Yeah.
right not
Hmm.
wanting to believe it. Um, but with Harry and Meghan, I guess she allegedly said to a source, which Jack Royston was speculating that it might be, I guess, who was like one of her best friends that was also her hairdresser or something. Um, I forget what her name is, but she might have been the one to say these things, but off the record. But she
Hmm.
was saying that the Queen, I guess, said something about like Harry and Meghan when they're leaving, and saying something about like, I don't know why Harry wants to leave just so he can go be a carer for Archie. And
Yeah,
which for the Americans, it's essentially just being like, so you can be a stay-at-home dad, or like,
true.
yeah.
Yes,
And so that kind of made comments on like, uh, I don't know, Harry and Meghan's roles and just whatever that Meghan was dragging on. uh, but uh, by all accounts, basically everyone thought that Harry and Meghan were moving too fast. So I didn't remember the timeline of
mm.
things. They were only engaged for 6 months before the royal wedding.
Really?
So yeah.
Wow.
And I don't know how many months it took to plan it, but it's like, yeah. So they thought it was very fast. um,
Yeah.
William tried to, of course, tell him to slow down. Harry didn't like it. I guess
Hmm.
even the Queen thought he was moving fast. Charles thought he, like the whole family's, and of course,
Mm.
that's not what Harry wants to hear. I mean, I get it. It makes sense. It's like a classic thing, right? That you like,
It
if your
is.
family
Yeah.
says, it's like, well, I know what I'm
Slow down a
doing.
little bit.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, yeah. And then you like get closer to your partner because you're like, they're against us. It's us against the world.
Yeah. So that
Yeah,
was the whole thing that they never liked us even when we were trying to get it done.
right, right.
Mm.
So, yeah, so with that, and then I guess there's something, I guess she allegedly the queen didn't like Meghan's wedding dress. She thought
Okay.
uh so I forget what the word was. It was like not a it was like an old fashioned word, but it was something like it was showing too much of like shoulder or whatever, or it was
Okay.
like a weird way. Um, and
Open
which is
neck
funny because like the
or
queen's worn like ball gowns and things, especially when she was younger, that were like, showing things. But I guess the wedding
is
dress, she
that
thought it was didn't
yeah,
like
is that
it.
what you call open neck?
Yeah, well, it is an open neckline. I'd have to look at her dress to remember exactly what it
Yeah.
even looks like. But I don't, I remember
Mm.
it being like, I think it was high up. It was just like maybe she thought it made her shoulder bones look weird. I don't know. Um,
Yeah. Come on, you're the fashion expert more than
I
I
know that's
am,
why I
but
gotta look. I gotta look so I can describe it. Um,
mm.
let's see. Meghan Markle wedding dress pictures. Da, 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 da. Okay, yeah, I'm right. I remember. Okay, so let me share. Do, do, do. Share this. Okay, so see where it's like a wide neckline. So it's
Oh,
almost,
okay.
yeah. I think it looks nice on her. I think it's fine. I guess
Yeah.
maybe the queen just feels like it looks like the top of like a dress has been kind of cut off. Like it's
Logged
not
off.
exactly your normal
Hmm.
off the shoulder thing.
True. Yeah, that's the other word for it, off the shoulder, I guess, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really seem appropriate, does it? I guess for a wedding gown to be off the shoulder.
Yeah. I mean, it is, especially, well, I mean, American wedding dress, you can have like the sleeveless ones, you can have like the ones that are just like a corset top. Well, mine
Okay.
was, yeah. I was like, wait a
Yeah.
second, mine was. Um,
Right.
but for a royal wedding, I believe, Kate's was full on covered or whatever. Oh, and I guess she also thought that because Meghan, this was her second wedding, Meghan shouldn't have worn such a bright white. She should have worn, like the traditional, it's like you're supposed to wear
A
ivory.
dirty white.
Yeah, you're supposed to wear like an ivory or something instead of
Mm.
the pure white because it's your second. So there's some things where it's just like, well, that's just grandma being grandma. Like, that's old fashioned.
That's yeah, it's an old-fashioned thing. Which at the time, because she's the queen, she can get away with it, can't she? She can't be considered
Sure. And she
because it's still
wasn't like,
tradition.
yeah, and she wasn't like making these comments to the media or whatever, right? Like this is coming
Yeah.
out years later through
Hmm.
a source.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, so yeah, so I just thought that was funny. But I guess they said that Megan got the rare invite to, maybe it was Sandringham. That's where their Christmas is, right? Christmas is
Mm.
Sandringham. Um,
Yes. No,
when
St Andrews, isn't it?
no, St. Andrews is
Oh, sorry.
just, yeah.
Yeah,
There's Balmoral, which is Scotland,
Balmoral.
but
Yes,
that's
which is
like their
St Andrews.
summer holiday, right? And Sandringham is
Yeah,
Christmas, I think,
I think yes, I think that
in
sounds about right.
England. Okay. So, I guess she was invited to that maybe before they were engaged or something, and it was sort of like a rare thing that she got to be invited to the family thing. And I guess aside from everyone thinking they moved too fast, they seemed fine with her, except apparently Prince Philip of course, didn't like her and
No.
just referred to her as that American. So it's like, to that, it just makes me laugh because I'm like, so that would have literally been like any American that Harry dated and brought there. Like, it's not even Meghan Markle specific. It's just Prince Philip
Yeah.
being the grumpy
Hmm.
old prince saying
Yeah.
that American, which sounds about
Which
right
is
for him.
which sounds about right. Yeah, and if you
Yeah.
think about it, it would um be a kind of traditional thing because it's always that American. I think
Right.
that's very stereotypical of that age group
Right. Right.
because if you think the British being so pompous and precise,
Mm-hmm.
and the Americans loud, brash, and modern, and all the rest of
Right.
it. So it's like, oh God, it's that American again, isn't it? And it's like you've all been tarnished with the same brush,
Right. Right.
even though that there are so many like 5 times more people that live in America than is it 24? No, probably about 8, 10 times more, 10,
Oh
12
yeah.
times more.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes. No, hang on.
I don't know the
I think
populations.
I think so there's about 330 million in the US
That
because Brazil's
sounds
about
familiar.
220,
Yeah.
and I think the UK is around 50 or 60. So yeah, it's about 6 times more
Okay.
in the 5 to 6 times more in the US.
Gotcha.
So it's very easy to stereotype everybody because us, the British,
Hmm.
are a very small group in comparison.
Right.
You're looking at
Yeah.
20% of the population do this compared to the other 80% of Americans, which were, well, we only get a handful of them in the royal family, so they must
Right.
all be the same. Especially when you think of Wallace Simpson and all the other
Sure.
ones that have come across to be related in a relationship in the royal
True.
family. So it's easy to say, oh, that American, they're all loud, they're all got their own way of thinking.
Right. Right.
But but so does everybody else in the world. So does everybody else in
Sure.
the world. It's just I know it's an English expression,
Yeah.
and I think most people are generally proud of their countries
Hmm.
because this happened to me when I came to Brazil.
Oh,
And it was
okay.
like when I done comparisons, just being married and moved it. Well, we the British, it wasn't, oh, in England we do so, I do so and so. It was
Yeah.
we the British
Yeah.
don't do that sort of thing. We the British. So for the first year, Katy kind of like, yeah, all right, let him get through
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
nuances of everything. And then she's like knocked it out of me because now in one sense we've kind of like compromised and
Right.
realized the
Right.
differences and learned to live with the differences.
Right.
So the first or second year, I think probably the second or third year, when my friend from England came across, of course they were going through the same process, even though they're on vacation.
Sure.
They look at it and was like, oh, but we the British, and can, oh no 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 no, don't start all this we the British stuff again.
That's
And
funny.
you don't realize you're saying it because it's cultural.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah.
because I don't think my friends or I actually meant any harm in saying
Sure.
we the British in the same way to defend Americans when they go abroad.
Right.
Well, in America we don't do that.
Right. Right.
And I think it's not we Americans. In America we don't do that. I think
Right.
it's kind of the we the British don't do that.
Right. But I feel like you're right. It is just like anyone traveling anyway, because it's like, if a French person traveled here,
Hmm.
right, then there'd probably be all kinds of things that like, I mean, this is ridiculous. Like,
Yes.
that's not how we do it.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I
Uh,
saw an American doing a travel video just the other week,
yeah,
and it was literally like, what is it in England that you go to the lavatory and they have two buttons? I guess one for number one and one for number two.
that's
Um,
funny.
and you think, what? And I went, well, yeah, well, maybe because in the UK and Europe, we're very conscious about wasting water,
Yeah,
so therefore, and I'm
yeah.
thinking, I'm sure I've seen them in America too, where
I
you've
have
got,
two. There, yeah, I was like, I think my brother
yeah,
even has one. Yeah, but it's not as common,
hmm
right?
yeah,
But I guess
there's no
she's
plug in
right.
the bathroom. Yeah, there's no plug in the bathroom, apart from there's one for a little shaver. How do you women ever dry your hair?
Oh, right.
Because here in the hotel room, there's not even a mirror in front of the plug to plug the hair dryer in. How ridiculous is that? And when you start looking at it, you think, yeah, I see your point.
Yeah,
But then I was thinking about when we've just travelled,
yeah,
there isn't a main 240. That's the big thing. We've got 240 volts running
right,
through the wall. So water and 240 are not going to mix very well at all.
right.
And we have alternating current as opposed to direct current. So it's a little bit more
Oh, okay.
disastrous with water. That which is why when
I
people
didn't.
get electrocuted with water, instead of
Yeah.
you getting like that, your hand comes away because it's alternating. You tend to grip onto it, hold it
Right,
harder,
right.
and you
Oh,
don't let
okay.
go of it.
Oh,
Whether that's
weird.
the alternating current doing that, I
Sure.
don't know.
Okay.
Um, but certainly noticed it a couple of times when I've touched a 220 or 240 volt live
Yeah.
wire. And you really do have to like put some effort into either release your
Right.
hand or if there's somebody with you, they've got to use something like a broomstick
Yeah,
or
yeah. To
something
like push.
insulated to yank you off.
Right.
But thinking of the hotels where we were, either the hair dryer was actually plugged into the wall,
Right. If they can
I
already have
so
one.
yeah, so therefore you
Yeah.
don't have a plug that comes out of the wall socket.
Right.
So that's considered safer because there's no
Right.
way that the plugs can get wet or water can
Right.
get into it. If it wasn't, and I remember I think I don't know how this one was because where we stayed in it, this was an Airbnb
Hmm.
where we stayed, so it's more like a home. I'm thinking there might have been a plug there. But because it was small, to save
Hmm.
on time, because it was an
Right.
ensuite bathroom,
Hmm.
Katya took the plug and went into like the bedroom area because it was an
Sure.
ensuite, plugged it in because I had a great big long mirror
Yeah.
there
Yeah. Yeah.
and a little dressing table next to it. So I thought, yeah, all right. And I think hotel rooms did too. They had a plug
Yeah.
next to a
Usually
mirror.
you can
So I think
do.
it should just
Yeah.
try
Yeah.
to like make it sound really like there's no mirror in the bedroom. But of course
Right.
because she was using the plug right next to the bed, which you wouldn't normally have a mirror unless you're in
Right. Right
some
next to
kind of
the.
love motel.
Right. A certain kind of motel.
What
That's
was the
funny.
one she picked up on? Oh, in America, we start off on floor one. Here, they start on
Oh.
zero. They call it the ground floor.
That one is funny because I remember when we lived in the flats and yeah, everyone it was just like it was so bizarre to get used to because now I'm trying to remember. So I must have lived on floor one,
Hmm.
but in America I would have been on the second floor,
No, the other way
right?
around. No,
No.
floor one in America is what we would call the ground floor.
Oh, you call that ground
In
floor. Okay.
what we call the ground. Yeah, so floor one for you is the ground floor. You don't go up any
Correct.
stairs in America.
Right.
So in England, floor one is the one,
That's right. That's the one I was
one
in because
above.
we went
Yes,
upstairs. So we were above the ground
the
floor.
ground floor.
Yes. So America's second floor, Britain's first floor or floor one. Yeah. So
Yeah,
that one
and
is funny.
which, if you think about it, nobody ever starts on one. Everything starts from zero.
Hmm.
And the way I've always kind of battled my win against this one, I said
Yeah.
when we start every day, we start at midnight. Well, if you look at the clocks, it
Hmm.
starts at 00.00.
All right. Hmm.
And then at 1 o'clock, when you've got the first hour,
Yeah.
that is what 1 hour gone.
Right, right.
Up until then, it's less than one, isn't it? So
Yeah,
therefore, the same with the floor. This is earth level. You can't go any higher because it's ground
right,
zero. And you know the term ground zero from New York.
right. So what about when you then have a lower floor? Because so many, you just call it the basement. What do you guys call, or the cellar? What do you guys call it?
In a house, it's normally called a cellar.
Okay,
Basement is the American for a cellar.
okay.
Um,
Do they have
now
finished cellars in uh England, like the way that they do in the US? How that's like, I mean, not so much in
it
Florida, but like, up
no,
north where you can have basements, the
it
finished basement that you hang out
depends.
in.
Yeah, like the Ben's Den or whatever. Um, it's it depends on the age of the house and the size.
Okay.
Now, if you take my terraced house in England that I used to have,
Mm-hmm.
it was a Victorian house.
Right.
Well, the cellar space
Mm-hmm.
there was literally just the same size of the front of the house,
Mm-hmm.
which was basically the living room and the hallway.
Right.
And you walk through the corridor, and there's your, let's say my lounge was on my right, and I walked through,
Mm-hmm.
you passed out through the corridor, then you had a flight of stairs going to the top floor, and then we
Okay.
had the next room, which was either the middle or the back room. The
Mm-hmm.
way into the cellar was through that middle room, so you go down the
Oh,
stairs
okay. Okay.
into the cellar, but it was like the size of the lounge and the hallway or the corridor
Right.
that led to the front door. That
Right.
was the only size of it. We could have turned it into a relatively, say, another room,
Right.
but
It's
it's
better
it would
just for
have taken a lot of
storage.
work. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, because the ceiling is so low, it's not
Oh,
full
right.
height.
Mm-hmm.
And most cellars, and I don't know about this in the US, was originally designed that outside your house you had a little grate with
Mm-hmm.
with a hole which you could climb in and out of, and
Right.
obviously the grate across it,
Yeah.
because when they used to heat houses back in Victorian times, they used to use coal and use
Oh.
real fires. So when the coal delivery would come, instead of traipsing all this dirty
Oh,
coal
right.
rock through the house,
Right.
they would drop it into the chute, which would then fall into the cellar
Oh,
underneath.
smart.
And then you go down with your little
Right.
bucket
And you
and
bring
fill
it.
up the fireplace,
Okay. That's smart. That makes sense.
which is a little bit like when you go to see pubs and restaurants. The
Mm-hmm.
cellars are underneath for the kegs
Oh,
and what
right.
have you. Again, because it's going through from the street in
Oh, straight
underneath,
down. Okay.
straight
Okay.
down under.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, that's the general why you have a cellar as such.
Right.
When it comes to, let's say, a hotel, usually because they've been purposely built and they're not quite so old buildings,
Mm-hmm.
they, what would we normally call them? Depends. I think hotels tend to fluctuate because
Yeah.
if it's a garage
Right. They can
or
just put a G.
parking,
Do they put a G for
we
garage or G is always ground floor?
geez, 90% of the time is going to be the ground floor.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
So therefore, it would be P for parking.
Oh,
P1,
gotcha.
P2, and
Yeah, yeah,
P3.
yeah.
Yeah. So you're
Okay.
parking
Yes.
in the parking lot as such
Right.
in there. Um, I'm trying to think. No, that's here I see S. Um, and I think I've seen S subterranean or something like that
Mm-hmm.
in on some of them. I'm trying to think what else they have in England. So, or sometimes the other one that they have, I know to make it
Mm-hmm.
universal. So you have G, one,
Yeah.
two, three. If you
Right.
have G at the base and you're going under the
Yeah.
ground,
Uh-huh.
it's -1, -2, and -3.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's fun.
So -1,
Yeah, I get it.
-2,
Yeah, that's
-3,
great.
which it helps universal
For sure.
because you kind of think of, and that kind of helps the Americans
Yeah,
thinking,
yeah,
well, if
yeah.
zero is where I come in,
And the
I've
right.
gone down, I went down one,
So you,
so that's
yeah,
negative because I can only get out on zero.
right.
Um,
That
and I
that
think
makes
other
sense.
countries, I'm trying to think here what I think in the lift here at home it's -1 for the garage, and I think it is
Okay.
-2 as well.
So
But
when you,
sometimes they actually call it subsulu, which is like subfloor.
oh, okay. So when you guys are speaking about like what floor you're on, do you say second floor, third floor, or is it like floor two, floor three? What's, or do you say
Um,
either?
if it's a home
Yeah,
with 2 floors,
yeah.
because sometimes you get like a 3-story home,
Right.
you would say, oh, go up to the first floor, or go, and then if you've got one above, go up to the top floor.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you wouldn't call it the second floor
Second.
generally.
Okay.
You'd call it the top
The
floor.
top floor. Okay.
In a hotel, yeah, go to the first, second, third, or the sixth floor,
Right.
whatever it would be.
But do you say like first floor or do you say floor one? Like what do Brits tend to
Oh,
say?
the number comes first.
Okay, first. Okay. Okay. So that's
First
like what
floor,
we
second
do.
floor, third floor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay. I just didn't know if it was
Mm.
like, yeah, if you guys said like floor one, floor two, or whatever.
Go to the first floor, go to floor one. I think it's interchangeable. I think
Okay.
generally,
Mm-hmm.
um, because now we live in a multi-society, cultural
Sure.
country world.
Right.
Um, Thinking it in hotels, we don't generally only employ English people.
Sure.
So maybe in their own native language, it's easy to say go to floor one, go to
Right.
floor six, or you're on the sixth floor.
Right. Right.
Now, I think for non-native speakers, it's easier to say go to floor six
Yeah.
as opposed to saying go to the sixth floor because that's
Yeah. That's
the
yeah,
sound is not easy.
it sounds clearer if you're trying to tell someone some like, direction wise where they're
Mhm.
going. It does sound clearer to say to, go up to floor three or whatever. So, okay, interesting. I'll have to see, let's see what else. Uh okay, let's see. Oh, Prince Harry wants an invite to Sandringham from the king. So, uh, I believe it was Prince Harry's, I don't know if it was PR person or a friend, whoever, like basically, I guess, was talking about how Harry wants to be able to go back. And of course, there's like the whole whatever the risk assessment people, right? That he had that whole thing with. And then they ended up recently saying, okay, fine, when like you're invited to something special, you get your full security. Um, so it was sort of like the way that it was stated was in the order of saying if he gets invited by the royal family or the king or whatever, he gets full
Mhm.
security. If he
Yeah.
doesn't, then he doesn't. He would like to be
Mhm.
invited by the king to Sandringham,
Mhm.
which makes it
Yeah.
sound like now are you just using your dad, like you're just using the family now, right?
Yeah.
Um, and the person even said like something about like would he love an invite? Like the way he worded it again was kind of like he would love an invite. He wouldn't necessarily accept it. Like he wouldn't necessarily come either. So it's very much,
Wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, this isn't Harry speaking
Mm.
directly, but it's very much just sounds like more of Harry where it's like, hey, like Jack Royston was like, Harry, like you need your dad more than he needs you. So like if you're trying to repair the relationship, like
You're gonna
you're still not going about it a great way.
no, as they say, you've got to bite the bullet,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you're gonna have to take the hardship and swallow the bitter
Right,
pill and make you know go and do something about it, not
right.
wait. And I think, to be honest with you, this is a very modern trend with a lot of people.
Hmm.
If somebody falls out, you get so stubborn about it
Yeah.
that you always think that the other person has to throw the olive branch.
Right, right, right.
Um, you rather sit back because you think it's weak to show
Yeah.
the oh,
For
okay,
you to be the
I'm
one.
open to you, yeah, to do that. And actually, it's more the other way around, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're weaker if you don't reach out.
Right. Right.
I'm going to be the bigger and better person here.
Right.
Okay, I'll try and repair some bridges, but you've got to meet
Right.
me halfway. I'm not going to come and do the whole
Right.
thing. It's
When
like,
it's
hey,
and you're
Amy, how do you fancy coming over? You
right.
think it might be
Right.
possible?
Yeah.
We'll see. Busy family, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, if you ever thought about it, let me know.
Yeah. Right.
And you kind of leave it like, well, I opened the door enough for you to have the
Right.
conversation. I
Right.
haven't
Right.
welcomed you
You
in. Just
right.
ask the question.
That's funny. Yeah, that's I feel like with Harry, yeah, he's just very I don't know. I don't want to say like bratty, but it feels very much like, do things my
Very
way.
petty.
Yeah,
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 it's very
yeah.
petty, isn't it?
It's like to him, he's probably telling himself like this is about principle, blah blah blah, like his
Hmm.
principle, and it's all about what
Yeah,
he thinks is right and what he how he thinks he's been wronged, and not you know he's not willing to back down,
no.
basically, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah, and he just expects them to uh or thinks that they like should be apologizing and offering him an olive branch, right? And
yeah,
that it's up to him because he's the one who's mad. Like
yeah. Hmm.
he's the one who's
Yeah.
hurt, as if they're
You've
not
got to
mad and
repair
hurt.
me.
Right,
Oh
right,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm the only one here entitled to cry. You're not, because you're the
Right,
one that made me cry.
right, right, right. It's like, and I got to write a whole book about you guys, and you guys aren't allowed to say anything.
Hmm.
I'm sure
Yeah.
that wasn't hard for you.
You also think there's an age element in this? Because I
Maybe.
think,
He's like 40s. I mean, he's really 40s. He's not
yeah,
spring chicken.
still,
Not like a
I
young.
know, but yeah, but still, the whole thing has been going on for so long. It's the
Yeah, it's been
mental
like 6 years
attitude.
now. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So if you think about, in my 30s, f- for men, they're still growing up, they're still becoming an adult.
Right.
And in fact, I think I don't think just men, even for women, there's something about this age of 25 before
Yeah.
you actually start realizing what being an adult is
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
Which puts you basically by the time you've become experienced adult, you're going to be in
Yeah.
your 30s.
Right.
Well, this happened before he was 20, so he's carried the baggage
Sure
for
of that.
12 years for it to come out, and now he's still got that new baggage.
Right.
Um, I'm just wondering and I think, yeah, he has some immaturity about him
hmm
to that sense, where maybe because he's been the number two in cast, he can
Yeah.
feel what he likes, do what he likes without so much consequence.
Right.
Where in the case of William, it's like, well, suck it up, Buttercup. You're gonna have to do something about it at some point. You're
Right.
gonna be the king at one point.
Right. Right.
So maybe Williams has to kind of hide the emotional
Yeah.
outburst.
Like keep the stiff upper lip more.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
where Harry's had freedom. And
Right.
I'm just trying to think back between the Queen and her sister and
Yeah.
Charles and his siblings,
Siblings.
now
Yeah.
Harry. The the other ones are allowed a little bit more to be,
hmm
I wouldn't say aggressive or angry, more emotional.
Yeah. Emotional. Yeah. 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 Outwardly
Um,
emotional or
yeah,
publicly emotional, whatever you
because
want to
you
call
don't often hear Charles. We've heard Charles when he first took over being king,
it. Yeah.
being a human, bloody pendulum work
Right. Right. Right.
round,
Right.
um, and if that's the major problem for a king, well,
Right.
the whole
Yeah.
world must
That's
be coming to an end.
right.
But
Right.
also, how difficult is it to give somebody,
hmm
whether it's whoever it is doing some
Right.
signing, a pen that doesn't leak?
Right. Right.
I don't know if you know
It's
about your president on how he signs
I don't
documents.
I don't know. What does
He,
he do?
he uses a Sharpie.
Like he's signing. like
Mhm.
autographs.
Yeah, he signs everything with a Sharpie.
Okay.
Which,
I mean,
to be fair, they don't leak like a normal pen would.
and it'll stay. I mean, it has staying power, I guess.
Yeah,
I suppose why not? Like
yeah.
it's different, but it it works.
Well, and also if you think about, I don't know if this part was true, but like you said, all the other presidents would have had all their nice pens done. They invite people to come and sign documents, all the rest of it, and they got $1,000 pen on the table, and of
Oh
course
right.
half of them are going to go missing.
Oh
Oh,
right.
can I keep it? Because it's got like the President Obama
Oh
pen in
sure.
office or whatever on
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
you know. Um, so it's probably very easy to give away so many of these pens
Right.
where if you have, and I think this is kind of fair to say,
Hmm.
if you're the king or the president, you can have your own. You can have your thousand
Yeah.
dollar pen or
You should. Yeah.
$10,000 pen, whatever it is, but you're the only one that has it. Now the problem
Yes.
is you put it in your pocket and it leaks. You're in a bit of a
Yeah.
pickle, especially if you take you.
Right.
Oh, look at my nice white shirt with a blue spot on it.
Right. Right.
Um, but having something regular that works, like a
Hmm.
Sharpie or let's say a Bic, as another
Yeah.
American
Right.
pen company, or even let's say something I was going to say like a Parker pen. I think that Parker's American or British. I think it's
I think
British.
that's British. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have Parker. Yeah. Trying
Okay.
to think.
So even if you got one of those, but it doesn't have to be so luxurious. Um, has something that just works. Now,
Right.
like as Trump was saying, they haven't had to spend 30 million or 3 million on dollars on pens. But then again, he can't have this pen that looks like a grey thing and a black coloured tip to it.
Yeah.
So obviously it's been commissioned that he says,
Oh,
oh,
okay.
well, can make it all black for you and we can
Oh,
print
okay.
on there Donald Trump, President, United
Right.
States
Right.
in gold,
Yeah. Yeah.
so we can make it feel a little bit more luxurious. But the mechanics, what's inside it, is
Right.
still the same good old boring Sharpie.
Right. Well, that's
I have
yeah.
no problem with that. I
Yeah.
think
That
that's a,
seems fine.
yeah, it's unique. You can't get any other one
Yeah.
because it's only made for him. It saves the government a lot of money being
Hmm.
wasted by giving fancy pens away. And
Sure.
I dare say anybody who comes to sign a document at the White House or
Yeah.
Buckingham Palace, I'm sure they'd all like to have that pen as a souvenir.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's very easy. Oh yeah, sure, take it away with you. I've got another one here. I've got a box from in the drawer. So yeah, help yourself.
Right.
Take it away with you.
Right.
Um, Far easier to give away a $5 pen than it is a
Yes.
$50 pen or a
Yes.
$500 pen.
Right. Right. So yeah, that makes sense.
So, okay, I know we like to batter them, but yeah, we give them a plus
I know,
point
that's
for
why I
it.
was thinking. I was like, okay, if this was anybody else, like I'd be fine with this. So I was like, all right, just because it's him doing it, I
Yeah.
give him a fair shake. I'd be
Hmm.
like, yes,
Yes. Yeah.
all right, we'll approve of the Sharpie
We approve the
signatures.
Sharpie. The Sharpie, yeah. Okay, you can.
Yeah. Um, but let's see. So what else? So Harry, or not Harry, Meghan, Beatrice and Eugenie, I think I don't think there was really anything too much new out about them, but Jack Rosen just kind of saying, like, sort of like, you can't help if you have terrible parents, right? And you can only hope that the kids don't also turn out terrible. And that Eugenie and Beatrice haven't seemed like they've turned out, poorly with the parents that they had. Um, but it was sort of like, but we have to, it's almost like brace yourself or be open to the fact that like more stuff may be coming out because they had been to his place or to Epstein's place. And he said that not that that means they did anything. He said, and a lot of times, like, you may not want to go to something, but your mom insists you go, like, even though you're not a kid anymore, right? It's like, if that's what the plan is, like, you just have to, like, fine, we'll go kind of thing. But yeah, he was just kind of commenting of like, we might end up being surprised of what they find about Beatrice and Eugenie, especially since Andrew was trying to get them involved, like money wise, right? Like getting people to
Hmm.
put money into their accounts. So yeah, but I thought it was interesting. He's just like, you can't help it if you have horrible parents. That's not their fault.
No. Um, but then again, it comes down to the age of the child uh, before they become independent and severed
Hmm.
from all responsibility of parents.
Right.
Um, because young teenagers or even middle-aged teenagers, because 15, 16, 17,
Sure.
18,
Hmm.
because you're still not really, especially in the eyes in the US, you're not an adult
Sure.
until you're 21.
Right.
So a 16, 17-year-old, you're still got another 5 years before you're an adult, really.
Right.
Um, should the parents be the ones that go to jail if you do the crime?
Right. Mm, I know.
Yeah,
It
you
feels
see
very
now
much, it feels very much of almost like it depends what the crime is. Like
depends what the
it
crime is.
depends on how you feel like who's more in control of this that situation, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is part of the problem, isn't it? Because if you've got a child that you cannot control
Hmm.
to behave well in society and within the law,
Right.
or even well in the law as opposed to being in the grey area of the law of like,
Sure.
well, should we prosecute or not prosecute? Because
Right.
that's the biggest problem we have. And that's what lawyers are all about, and
Right.
that's what they love about that. Um, you've done your best as a parent to
Hmm.
bring up your child, but your child is one of those that is very rebellious and
Right.
that finds trouble and your child seem to be best friends, even though they don't seem to like. I don't know why I get in trouble. It just happens, and I think for some kids
Right.
that is true. They don't
Yeah.
purposely go to find trouble. It's
Right.
just
It's
that
just it's in
they
their
haven't got a consciousness to
it's kind
think
of in
about
their
what's right.
that's to say it's kind of in their nature to just like
Mm.
go towards things that like end up getting them in trouble because like you said it's
Yes,
like a consciousness where they're not thinking that far ahead.
that far ahead.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was the thing I think about the 25-year-old. You're unaware of conscience of
Hmm.
consequences until you pass 25.
Okay,
The
that makes sense.
consequences of your actions don't actually start kicking in until you're after 25. It's
Right.
one of the last adult development things that we learn as a
Interesting.
skill.
Okay.
I knew there was a 25 there from growing up. It's consequences.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, that opens up a whole new ball game because if you've got bad parents,
Right.
the probability your children are going to stray a little bit, say, from the pure, let's say, this is the perfect what you're going to be. If your parents are slightly off, your
Right.
children will be slightly off. Now, some children will veer back to it, and
Hmm.
others just keep going off in the same direction.
Right.
Um, that's difficult, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because in the case of Andrew, well, he was a bad parent and he's influenced them. The girls were innocent at the point, but now they've technically done the crime
Right.
too.
Right.
They're
Well,
involved.
yeah, and they pointed out that I always forget who's who. Eugenie maybe. One of them was almost like Andrew's sort of representative or whatever, like with him in meetings and stuff before he did that horrible interview. And I remember they portrayed that in like the shows about it. But so it's sort of like, I don't know, she's even like really close to her dad. And I mean, perhaps she just buys all of his BS, right? Like the queen did.
Hmm. Yeah.
You don't want to think otherwise, so you don't make yourself think otherwise, or you don't let yourself think otherwise.
Well, why would you?
Okay.
Your point of reference of being growing up comes from your parents.
Right.
Um, so much so that what you do as a routine, you believe is normal for you and
Sure.
acceptable to everybody else. It's
Right.
only when you get outside that environment you realize, oh,
That's
We
weird. Yeah.
Americans don't do it like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Um,
We don't do that. We didn't do that in my house growing up. Yeah.
yeah, why do they do that? That's so stupid or so weird
Right.
or oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Never admit to the fact it's better. That's interesting.
Sure. Interesting. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so this is I think a bit of a problem in the
Yeah.
sense that at what age were they influenced by the thing, and should by association they be
Right.
prosecuted? Now, I think it depends at the age in which they're involved,
Hmm.
and we should have leeway on when you're immature, when you're
Right.
young, you don't think of consequences, and you haven't been influenced between, let's say, all the rights and all the wrongs of the world. So
Hmm.
people were going to point fingers at you later.
Right.
Now, I heard something on YouTube just the other night, and I don't know if you remember when, again, I'm sure it was Trump. Yes,
Hmm.
Trump was in, let's say, a private area where he was talking to other guys about women and the
Oh,
concept
great.
of, and
Uh-huh.
you probably remember the comment.
What the locker? Yeah. Is locker room
Yeah,
talk?
locker room
Hmm.
talk. Yes. Okay,
Hmm.
so you know where we're going with that. Good. I was
Hmm.
wondering how am I going to go with this? You don't know.
Yes, I
So
remember
with
this.
the locker room,
Yeah.
so with the concept of that, A, he was not the president. He wasn't even associated with becoming the president of
Sure.
the country. And in the case of Harry, again, not
Hmm.
saying they're both compatible, but
Sure.
again, out of reality of where he would be in 10 years after that, 15 years after that, should we be prosecuting of what they did stupidly prior to that? Because it didn't really affect what he's doing today
Hmm.
in the position that they are today. Now, we can point it out. Now, in the case of Harry, yeah, come on, that was out in public. In the
Yeah.
case of Trump, that was in an private environment. That was
Right.
not for general
Right.
release.
So you're saying Harry? Do you mean Andrew
No,
or
I'm
no?
thinking when Harry dressed up as Hitler,
Okay. Yes. 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 Yes.
So should we forgive Harry for doing that? Well,
Sure.
to some degree, but hang on. At that point in time, because it was out in public,
Yeah.
we need to have a talk, my dear boy, because you know this is going to upset so many people on so many levels. Because even if you didn't think, please, we cannot go through this type of
Right.
scenario again. In the case of Trump's locker room talk, that was not for general public.
Sure.
Harry did his disaster, faux pas, should we
Yeah. Yeah.
call
Yeah.
it, in public.
In a public
So
party.
there,
Yeah.
in a
Hmm.
public party. So therefore, we should be able to address and separate the two.
Right.
And I think in the US, I've noticed this a lot, and I'm not
Hmm.
sure about the UK. And I think it must happen, and it probably
Hmm.
has. Just I don't get to hear it. State senators and statesmen and congressmen and all the rest of them, they've all done something stupid when they're at university and college and
Sure.
all the rest of it. And then all of a sudden they get into a position of power and then they have to leave because they were at a wild party or they've done something silly. Well, if we remember what we were talking about a few months ago, that the consequence learning doesn't happen till after 25.
Right.
I think there is a period of time saying, well, okay, it wasn't done in the time when they're in power. It wasn't relevant
Right.
then to where he is because he's grown up. He's done different things.
Right.
Has he always been doing this for the last 10 years?
Right.
No, that was a one-off. Okay, we can
Right.
all make a faux pas
Right. Well, and like,
occasionally.
oh gosh, Bill Clinton, when
Hmm.
he people thought he, found out he smoked pot in college or something, right?
Yeah.
And he had to say like, well, but I didn't inhale, like to try
Hmm.
to, because it's like, so if you see me with a picture of it, like, I might have it.
Hmm.
And it's like, yeah, that was a college thing. I mean, for him, maybe he had his eye on the presidency, but regardless, like, I think it.
Yeah.
it also matters who the person is or how they're behaving in their role at the current time. Meaning, like,
Yes.
how harsh are they on the younger generation for whatever the younger generation is doing,
Hmm. Yeah.
but they expect whatever they did to be accepted, like,
Accepted.
or for,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It was like, oh, well, yeah, I was a boy or a girl at that time. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah. I was
right,
a little bit wild. I was growing up.
right.
Um, and I think, we have to allow for that because, like you say, I might want to be president at the age of 18,
Hmm.
20, 25. Well, I don't think I think the youngest you can be a president in the US is it like 35 or 40
I
years
think
old?
so. Yeah, it's something. Yeah, I feel like it's not under 35.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, with that in mind, when you're at, let's say, 20, let's
Hmm.
take 20 as a thing, you just barely got out of school and university.
Right,
You're still basically a child. And you're going to have 20 years of adultship before you even get to that position.
right.
Well, how many crimes do people have that go over 20 years of life in
Hmm.
prison for crimes?
That's true. Yeah, yeah.
So we put people in prison for far worse for far less time.
Right. Yeah.
As
Well,
society, we should be able to say, oh, if it was a crime of embezzlement
right.
between the prince and princess, okay. If they were to be slandered and oh, now let's drag their name through the mud. Well, hang on a minute. This was 12 years ago. If that was happened 12 years ago and there was a prosecution, they get 6 years in prison for it.
Hmm.
Well, it's kind of like, is it the law of is now expired to make
Right.
that prosecution or comment?
Hmm.
And if we had more of that, maybe we would have a better system
Right.
on allowing people to learn from mistakes.
Right.
I don't know if that works with law. Oh,
Right.
I murdered somebody when
Right.
I was 20 years old and I got away with it. And now I'm 45 and they now discover who it is. I
Right.
don't
Right.
know if that can be forgiven.
Right. Yeah.
So I think the law would
There's
then step in on the severity of it. But if it's
right.
things that's going to damage your name or your
Right.
character, which is basically what most of these are,
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
it should be totally irrelevant and
Well,
it should be dismissed.
yeah, that and the you made me remember that in college, so at Ball State, they have the teachers college. They're like, I
Mm,
don't know, known for having a good teachers college. I think that's actually what it started out as. And so, but I remember having friends that were studying to be teachers, and it was like a really weird thing where it was sort of like, don't get caught drinking or partying because like you get kicked out from being like you wouldn't be allowed to be a teacher. And I thought that seemed wild. I can't remember now the particulars if it was like underage drinking, which even still, like, who cares? Or like public
mm.
intoxication. When you're like in college studying to be a teacher, like, I don't know, you're not
You're
actually
not a
teaching
teacher.
kids. Yeah, you're not a teacher yet.
Yeah.
You're
No.
a student.
You don't even know if you don't know you're going to pass the exam to even get a job as a teacher.
Right.
That's what you want to be.
Right. Right. Now,
Yeah.
see, I could understand if it's like during the part of your studying where you're, oh, like the teaching assistant or, where you do like your internship at the school and
Mm.
you're like helping out in a classroom. Okay, fine. You're not allowed to like come in smelling like alcohol the next
Yeah.
morning.
Or smelling a weed or looking
Sure.
at inappropriate um
Right.
sex videos of some
Right.
kind
Right.
online
Right.
or that sort of thing. The things that people get upset about.
Right.
If it's at that point, yeah, hang on. There's no place for that in today's involvement of where you are.
Right.
Even if it was like 2 years ago, I think that is still relatively relevant.
Hmm.
But if it's over, let's say, 5 years, there should be less. If it's over 10 years, it's like, well, it might be worth a mention. If it's over 10 years, it's like,
Yeah.
so what?
Right.
So
Right.
what? Does
And
it really change what's happened in the last 10 to 15 years? No.
right. Yeah. If it's just like something like you said that's just sort of looks bad about your character or whatever, right? Like it's not a
Yeah.
crime even. It's just it looks
Yeah.
bad. Uh
If
then
everybody's put their hand
yeah,
on their heart, at some point, everybody's stolen something from somebody.
right. Yeah,
Whether it's a, whether you planned it or you just did it, and it's all right. Nobody's really going to care that I
sure.
stole this envelope and
Right.
paperclip from the office, and I even put the company's postage stamp on it.
Right, right. Or people, it's like I take, like plastic, right? I take napkins, I take ketchup, whatever, right,
Hmm.
from like
Yeah,
restaurants.
yeah,
Like,
or yeah, that, or I'm just thinking maybe back to the office. If they supply coffee and tea
all right,
and snacks, you say, well, I didn't have my 3 cups of coffee today. Well, I'll take
yeah,
3 capsules home and my 2 packets of cookies.
right,
And I'll
right.
have them tonight when I get home.
Yeah,
It so
yeah,
happens
yeah,
I've got people coming around. It'd be nice. I'll take a couple extra. Um, Petty theft,
yeah.
but we all do it.
Right, right.
We all do it at some point, and maybe sometimes. And I think this is the thing about business owners. You have to be a little bit, should I say, you want to take advantage
Mm-hmm.
so that you can succeed. Because
Mm-hmm.
too much of Mr. Goody Two Shoes
Yeah.
can actually prevent growth of your business because you're not hungry and competitive enough
Mm-hmm.
to outbid maybe the other people bidding for the contract, or maybe if I reduce the price of my purchase and the quality slightly, but I charge a higher price, I can make
Mm-hmm.
better profit.
Right,
Well, I'm not saying it's criminal,
right.
but you've got that slight intent to outdo others for your
Mm-hmm.
benefit.
Right,
And I
right.
think petty theft is much the same thing.
Similar. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. I'm gonna have to leave right at 5. I have to get Piper
Oh,
today.
okay.
Yeah. Do you have another meeting or what do you got going on?
You're my
You're
only
done?
meeting today.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness. That's
Yeah, just
crazy.
you. Only you
That's great.
today.
Oh my goodness.
I did have one about a couple of hours before, and Kathy went and got her nails done. So I
Oh,
then ended
nice.
up by Japan. And not a religious
Yeah.
aspect, but Good Friday being Good Friday,
Oh, right. Yes, yes.
I've always had fish for lunch.
Oh, yeah.
And I think only once, I would say once with Katya, I think. Say
Hmm.
twice in my whole life have I ever had something like, oh, it's Good Friday, I forgot. It wasn't intentional. Well, oh, we're going
Yeah,
to
yeah,
have that
yeah.
because it's Good Friday. Like, no, always had fish. So she said today, oh, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. Oh, let's go out for lunch. Suddenly looked at somebody booked in on my calendar. So
Yeah.
I sent them an email. I said, oh, it's Good Friday day. You shouldn't have been able to book. Oh, well, it was empty, so I thought I'd take it.
Right,
So
right.
I moved it, but it's
That's
the only one,
that makes
which has
sense.
allowed
Yeah.
me to catch up on a little bit of work today,
Right. Well, that makes
which is what I'm
sense.
trying to do.
Yeah. You're allowed to protect your time.
Well, nobody else is doing much work today,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is why I was thinking, I haven't heard from Amy today. I wonder, are we going to be
Yeah.
doing tea time or
We
not?
are. Yeah, we are. I worked Piper had school. Yeah.
Oh,
Public schools had school. Yeah. The Christian schools that Eddie's kids go to, they had a half day on Thursday and then we're off today.
okay.
Yeah.
Now, because it's spring break, isn't it? Still
Nope.
in certain areas. Well, in
It's
certain
not.
places in Florida, over
Maybe.
in
Oh,
Tampa it
maybe.
is.
But like the oh sure, but like I just meant it's not the school spring break. The Christian school. It's like they're just having
Well,
an extra day and a half
mm,
off because it's Easter, it's Good Friday.
well, yeah, I was going to say because it's done by county, isn't it? It's not done by state. Spring break.
Yes, that sounds right. It is done by
Yeah.
county. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, because our friends came down 2 weeks ago
Hmm.
and they will be in the county of Orange. And the kids were on spring break that week.
Oh, okay. And yeah, we were already had ours like I feel like in March or whenever. Yeah,
Yeah, a little bit earlier,
early
but
March.
well, still March. So
Yeah, I guess you're
yours
right.
were a little
Yeah,
bit sooner. But theoretically, with Easter coming in, now you've
yeah,
got theoretically Friday as a holiday,
right.
which it should be
Hmm.
because it's a Christian country,
Right.
immaterial to all that. Well, that's another debate.
Sure.
Spring break should be the same for everybody in Florida or the whole of in the US at
Right.
least. Should at least encompass this weekend for
I
Easter. Whether
see.
you start this week and go
I see.
next
Or
week for
start
two
next
weeks,
week. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or finish
Right.
and go back have 2 weeks before, you can spread it out a little bit more. But it should include
Right.
at least a Good Friday.
Right. That would make sense. I don't think it ever
Yeah,
has. Like, I don't remember. Mumsy will have to tell us if she remembers a time with that happen at school,
yeah,
like up in Indiana. Um,
maybe,
yeah,
maybe.
but I
So, do you have
will.
plans for the paper?
Yeah, I'm gonna hide eggs in
Mhm.
the yard for her and the neighbor kids. We did that last year and it was really fun. They loved it. So I think we're doing
Mhm.
that, and I think we're just laying low this weekend. I think we have other stuff
Okay,
next weekend. Uh, but
right.
yeah, this weekend
Cool.
hopefully we'll have nice weather, and that's what we're gonna do. Just hang out outside.
Right. All right. Well, you
Yes.
go and
So
do that. I don't want to be
thank you.
the excuse of making you late.
Okay, thank you. Well, it was lovely chatting with you. So until next week,
Likewise.
cheer bye.
Cheerio, bye.